Okay, so it seems like the entire world is insane. Uh, but that insanity is something that is created artificially by governments and those who back governments. Uh, because sanctions is not a reality. Uh, Economics is not a reality. Uh, the loss of food and medicines and all that. That's not a reality because the true economics for globally for humans are the people. The other one is the level of knowledge, so therefore intelligence and the skills that come with it. Because the smarter we are, the more knowledge we have, the more we can accomplish. So this is why I say that sanctions are a fantasy. It's an illusion. Uh, let me address Iran and North Korea. All right. So here are some solutions for North Korea and Iran. Simple. You both nations have ignored sanctions. So here's what you need to do. All right. First, forget your oil and your gas. All right. Create a new infrastructure that will supply you with all the energy needs that you could possibly ever want or need. Use your people and create electricity in every home, business, uh, basically throughout the entire nation. Collect collectively every biodegradable thing, including human waste and animal waste and plant waste, and create electricity in every home, in basically every building. Utilize the entire population to create methane. It's a simple process. All you need is a septic system, a rudimentary septic system, and just push down a condensing pipe into the septic system and pump out the methane and use it for creating electricity, use it for creating cooking, for cooking, and use it for creating fuel for your vehicles. Add to that solar panels, wide ranging, covering the entire country, as much of the where the populations are. Use the new but very simple bioelectric feedback circuits that you can hook up to your every plant and every plant and use that to create electricity as well. Do that, and you'll get full coverage that you need for every energy need that you could possibly want. And it has the added benefit of not only helping to combat climate change, but you will also you will have a infrastructure that can't be eliminated easily. So there won't be any blackouts. Two, you have alternative source. You have an alternative source of fuel for your vehicles, So you can use that for your military. You can use it for civil needs, and it's vastly renewable. Secondly, have on the same principle, have people producing foods and use technologies which are out there, which are basically open source, where you create your food in your homes, in your business, and everything else, and that solves the problem of keeping people fed. You can also grow medicinal plants and others. Same thing, and you can create all the resources that you need. Stop using the established ways to make uh, ways and rules to make things that are necessary, because there's always a solution. Rather than using metals, buying metals, why not create carbon ceramics, industrial carbon ceramics? So you build your homes with industrial carbon ceramics. You build your infrastructure with industrial carbon ceramics. You build your pipes and others, all the other infrastructure that you need with industrial carbon ceramics. This is where knowledge comes in. And Iran has said has done a great thing with making sure that the people are well educated. Expand upon that. Motivate the people to learn more and to think outside the box. Stop playing the rules from the small minority in the country and the small minority around the world who have only interest in making sure that they have a life of luxury. Do that, and you solve the issues. And the great thing about the carbon ceramics I'm talking about is that you can develop all sorts of things to protect yourself and ensure without having to go to a nuclear option, because that basically is signing our own collective death warrants, because that will kill us all. So that's really that should be just plain obvious. So why even do that? There are other ways. The U.S. has already demonstrated there are other weapon systems that you can create that won't have the nuclear fallout and all the dangers that come with nuclear weapons. I know for a fact that the Iran and the world knows about Moab, the mother of all bombs. Hey, you could create that too. So it comes about thinking with a clarity. Stop playing by the rules of other people. And this goes on for anybody. For those citizens of the United States, like myself, we have to stop playing by the rules of the crooked rule makers, of criminal rule makers, because that's basically what we are. We're playing by rules that are clearly been stacked against us, and that's how you do things. Those are just a few simple solutions to problems everybody always talks about on the media. Rather than look at the solution, look for the solution. Look at the problems, look for the solutions. That's called progress, people. That's what leads to peace. But you won't be able to do that if you can't get out of the, can't get yourself out and give yourself a stiff kick in the ass and say, oh, you know what? We've we're playing by other people. That's what Gaddafi. That's what Saddam. They try to play by other people's rules, other people's agenda, and they paid for it. So stop playing by the rules. Start being creative with, some of the solutions I just already gave you. I'm not going to say. Let me correct that. I was told by this quote unquote libertarian here in Pennsylvania that, you can't give people solutions. Okay, well then let me advocate and suggest these solutions. But that's a sort of idiocy and stupidity and the rules that keep us from progressing. It's other people's idiotic ideas of what realities are, or what we should follow by, the rules that we should play by. So you want to get yourself out of the situation. You know what? There's no need for you to talk about to be worried about sanctions, because the solutions are there. Economics, hell, your entire population can produce everything that you need, including stuff like smartphones and computers and all that other stuff. But you don't need to use the established methods. You can come up with different methods. You know what? The other thing is, you know what? Train your entire population to be able to defend themselves. Contrary to what others often say, is that, you need gun control. You need to, but you know what? When you're in a situation where you're in Iran or North Korea, it's foolish to waste resources. And the biggest resource of every country are the people who live there. So train everybody. Train them not only to use the weapons, but when to use them, how to use them, and how to detect a threat. And the way you do that is by knowledge. So combine knowledge, real world knowledge, with empirical facts, and there's nothing that can't be accomplished. Ignore the issues if you want, ignore the threats if you want, play by the rules if you want. But ultimately, it doesn't matter, because you'll end up getting yourself crushed if you play by the others' rules. It's simply that. Think outside the box, be creative, be find solutions. Don't look at the problem. Because solutions are never found in just thinking about problems. Solutions are found by knowing what the problem is, what the issue is, and coming up with solutions. And the way to do that is to be able to think critically and gather all the knowledge possible within your lifetime, from birth to death. Every man, woman, and child is the absolute resource every nation needs, and therefore should always do everything to promote the health, well-being, and more importantly, the intelligence, therefore the will, drive, and cognition of its people. Because without that, you get the chaos that we have. Without that, we get to play by rules of the minority rule makers. So as I said, Iran and North Korea, you want to give yourself breathing room. You want to give yourself a chance to do grow and progress and so on and so forth. Then start with some of the things that I advocated, and understand most of all that it's your people that matter. Stop letting fear and idiotic ideas and ideology push you. There was a great saying, and it was great when it was said, and it's still great now. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, because when you fear, you get driven by others. But when you let go of that fear and you start looking for actual solutions, then you get confidence, you get security, you get peace. For the leadership of North Korea and Iran, you know what? Here's a great thing. You don't have to worry about losing power or influence or even money, because when you do what is right for the country and therefore by the people, then you will get rewarded. Your success is assured. So there's my advocacy for solutions. And this is not just for North Korea and Iran. This is for everywhere in the world. Whether you live in Europe, whether you live in the United States or North America or Central America, South America, Africa, Asia, it doesn't matter where you live. You have to understand that governments typically are just criminal organizations. They typically only look out for themselves and for others who can give them the illusion so that they can live in luxury, so that they can do what they want, whether it's equal or unequal. So understand, those are I advocate those solutions for you. It's up to you to decide whether it makes sense. Because right now, it looks to me that Iran and North Korea are still playing by rules that will ultimately see them go down in flames. But hey, we're not going to be too far behind you. The U.S. and the U.S. population and the U.S. people are playing by the rules. They're letting fear be the driver. In Europe, it's the same way. In Russia, it's the same way. China, it's the same way. India, it's the same way. In Africa, it's the same way. In Australia, it's the same way. Central America and South America, it's the same way. Everybody's playing by the fixed rule makers' rules. And you're not listening to sense because you're too busy with the pettiness of fighting each other. And rather than seeing reality, you're playing the game. And the game is and has been always by the minority rule makers.